I was watching a really good video that you kind of like an instant reaction that you did about some of the current new guys that they're adding to the defense for Nebraska, right? And you being a defensive guy, and we talked about it on our regular show a little bit last night, and I brought that up, but I'm excited because you kind of seem almost like when you see the right things happening, you kind of get this optimistic tone of voice that I really enjoy hearing, right? Like I don't like negativity. I always like to look at the positive, right? And being a fan of some of the teams I am, you kind of have to keep that perspective or you just be miserable. And it seems like with
saying your teams aren't very good. Is that what you're
well,
saying?
I'm an A's fan. I'm a Raiders fan. I've been a Warriors fan my entire life, so they're pretty good now.
Yeah.
And then of course, Nebraska the last 5, 6, 7 years, it's been a little difficult. But with the addition of guys like Mathis and Drew here in the last couple of days, I heard you say some things about the possibilities with Chenander's defense and some of the schemes, and maybe you can talk a little bit about that for some of the fans that are listening, because I liked the ideas that you had. I love like watching fun defense, watching guys, blitz, things like that. So can you talk a little bit about what you foresee possibly happening with this defense?
So, I mean, for probably about the past decade or so, we've had some guys who could get after the quarterback, but nobody who was able to do it on a consistent high level. Even Randy Gregory did it his one year, and then his senior year, he was banged up. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard to consistently do it year after year. So we've always had one guy who could potentially get after it, but we haven't been able to find one who could consistently do it, and certainly not more than one. And so if I'm Eric Chenander, I'm trying to find ways to get pressure on the quarterback. So most folks would probably be like, hey, you don't have a top flight pass rusher. You've got to bring these exotic blitzes. Well, that's great if you got people who can cover, and you still need people who can break free and get there. Otherwise, you're just going to give up big, gigantic chunk plays. But now, so he doesn't have to blitz all the time because he's got guys who can win one-on-one battles. But the other thing, the reason I went to the blitzes, and number one, it's something that excites me. But number two, when you've got so many potential really good pass rushers like Ochaun Mathis, Garrett Nelson, Caleb Tannor, and I look at a guy like Jamari Butler. You watch him just move. He's a physical athlete. Hopefully he can put it together to get on the field. Blaise Gunnarson's another possibility. It's like, okay. And then you've got Luke Reimers, you got Henrich. How do you get these guys all on the field?
Mm-hmm.
So third down, because you can't do it on first down very often.
Yeah.
You're going to be undersized. So third down is where I go. And if you're going to put a guy like Garrett Nelson, who's a weight room warrior, strong as all get out, but if you're going to put him on the line, especially on the tackles, he's going to be undersized. So you've got to move him. And that's where like the stunting and the blitzing and all that stuff came in. How do you get them all on the field? How do you make it an appropriate situation? How do you take advantage of what you have? So, Tannor, I thought he would be heavier. He's 225. He's moving quick and light. That's basically a big safety or a small linebacker. If you want to put him at end, that's great in pass rush situations. Mathis is obviously an outside back or DN type. Nelson's the one I would put possibly inside next to Robinson in nickel type situations. You could go 30 defense with 3 D linemen, 4 backers. If you're talking about 30 and you're talking about you want to keep Henrich and Reimer on the field, and then you want to keep Nelson, maybe Butler, maybe Mathis, maybe all these guys. Now you've got some tiny linemen in a 30 front, which is not a good idea because you got to have some size. So that's why I went nickel and doing some of those things. But now you can stunt and you can blitz. You can have backers shoot the A gaps with the tackle stunting outside. You can have backers showing like they're going to blitz, then they back out, which could draw a block. And now your tackles are one-on-one with the guards, your D tackles. But now maybe they're short a blocker or two because I've been blocking this guy. Now he's not coming, but now I'm not double teaming. But now you're dropping extra guys. And you still got the one-on-one, so you don't have the risk in the back end. Maybe the backers are coming off the tackles' butts because the tackles can shoot inside. Now the backers are coming through the B gap instead of the A gap. And so you've got guards and centers. By the way, the center has to snap, which is not Nebraska fans take for granted anymore. So is the backer coming? Is he dropping? Is the tackle going to earhole me? Is he going to go straight? By the way, if I screw up, what about the snap? I've got all these things to think about. Oh, by the way, if they just lined up and went one-on-one, this guard versus Garrett Nelson, Garrett Nelson's got a great chance to win to begin with, even if you didn't do anything to try to confuse me. And so the possibilities are endless of what they could do. I think the biggest challenge he's going to have is making the package not too big.
Yeah.
making it something that is simple for you, but confusing for them. And if you want to bring the house, you can. If you want to bring one, you can. Or if you want to look like you're bringing the house and dropping it, you can. But it doesn't confuse your guys, but it looks the same to the offense. So the quarterback isn't sure what to audible, and the offensive lineman, because one of the key things you can do is you can draw an offensive lineman's block and then drop into coverage. So now they're really blocking with 4 guys or 3 instead of 5, but either you're blitzing the house or you're not. And that to me is what is so much fun. I love defense. I coach my son.
I could tell.
I coach my son's 6th grade football team. I don't coach the offense. Every youth sport coach I know is the head coach of their team so they can get their kid the ball and they can run the offense. Well, I don't get my kid the ball because I don't want to run the offense. I love defense. I have another guy who does that. I'm the only head coach, I think, in the entire state who runs the defense and not the offense. But that's what I love.
It's funny because I have my son wants to start playing high school football next year, and he's been in some flag leagues, and every time that they ask me to coach, that's what I want to do is the defense, because it feels, I don't want to say defense is easier, but defense is way more fun because, you can tell these guys like, okay, you count to 2, like you tell a kid, count to 2 in your head, then break for this or break for that, or stick with this guy and just keep, I don't care where he goes on the field or wherever, you stick with him, keep him in your hip pocket. One guy you didn't mention in all that, I was just
going to say defense for youth sports.
Yeah.
In general, defense is 1,000 times easier. Like you've got to get the O-line together. You've got to get the snap count, the handoff. Oh my God, try shotgun with 6th graders. Put a guy in motion.
You can't even get the kid to hike the ball. Yeah.
If one guy messes up, your quarterback's getting killed. Now the quarterback's pissed. The O-lineman's pissed. He's not the quarterback. The running back wants to be the quarterback. This guy wants to be a lineman. By the way, you got to get them on the same page. And here I am. Oh, we're just going to blitz a crap load of people, and you got to get the ball off. Good luck. Defense is 1,000 times easier, especially in youth sports.
Yeah. So one guy that you didn't mention, going through all those, and I'm curious your take on him, because I think this could be a really good breakout year for him, is Nash, right? The polar bear. And you mentioned like a lot of your stuff is happening on 3rd down, but like 1st and 2nd down, stopping the run, plugging up the middle. Husker Nut asked another question too about if you've heard that if they'll be running more of a 4-man front next season, and what type of players do you need to run that, and does NU have them now?
So there are strong rumors that they will be moving to a 4-man front. I don't think anybody knows for sure right now because we don't know who we're going to have on the D line for sure.
Yeah, we're still signing guys. Yeah.
Obviously, he's ran a 3-man front the whole time he's been here. They've had 4-man packages, especially passing situations. I have heard strong rumors just because of the lack of experience when it comes to the tackles that they were going to go 4-man. My gut tells me that they will. Devin Drew, obviously, he started all year for Texas Tech. You got Ty Robinson, but you got to get at least one more guy from the portal. Hopefully, he's a playmaker. If they do that and Nash plays well, they could stay 30 with 4 backers. It wouldn't shock me, but it depends on who they get. And right now, it's completely up in the air. So as far as Nash, no, he absolutely occurred to me. Number one, he's a young guy, and you don't want to. Listen to everything, not the youth sports stuff, but like everything that I threw out possibility-wise on 3rd down. Mm-hmm. So he hasn't even been here an entire year yet. Okay. And you're counting on him, I guess, now to be your starting nose guard at this point in time. So young guys stepping up in the line happen a lot more than when I was coming out. Skill like wide receivers, DBs, those guys tended to play earlier, but the linemen, you got to get bigger, faster, stronger, that physical development. Guys are coming out of high school better than they ever were. And Nash is absolutely one of those guys. That guy's very, very strong. I think I didn't bring him up because he's obviously very strong. He obviously is going to contribute on 1st and 2nd down. I think you don't want to – I don't know if his forte right now is in the pass rush scenario. There was other guys that I mentioned, like a Messiah Newsom or somebody like that, who may have the edge in that particular department, a little bit more explosive. So that was one reason. Another is you're going to need that guy on 1st and 2nd down. Right now, we don't have a whole lot of run stoppers. So you need him to be effective. And the last thing you want to do is wear him out physically, but overload him mentally. Because that 3rd down package, it might be more extensive than the 1st and 2nd down. And obviously he's going to have to know it to a degree. But if he can focus, sometimes less is more, where he's a young guy. If he can focus on 1st and 2nd down, he might be that much better for you, where you already have more weapons on 3rd down. You may not need to overload him at this point.